Hi, and welcome back to our video series on Moodle. And this is part 4 where we're looking at our grade book. So all of the assessment components of your course, those grades will eventually come here into Moodle. So you will be using the grade book in Moodle quite a bit. Obviously, there's the grades that students are getting from their compulsory Moodle activities, but there's also things that you'll be doing with them outside of Moodle, things like speaking test, writing test, portfolio, perhaps project grades that maybe aren't graded directly into Moodle where you'll have to input those grades. When we get closer to the time to do that, your course leader and your course contact will be a great resource to help you on how to actually enter grades into Moodle. Every course is a little bit different. Every Moodle is set up a little bit different for how those grades are put in, depending on how your CL has made the assignment in Moodle. So that's something you're going to want to talk to your particular course contact and course leader about for your course. But for all of us in Moodle, there is some information we can find in the gradebook that will help us to follow our students' progress and see how they're doing on those weekly or bi-weekly compulsory assignments that all of our courses have. So here I am again on the welcome page, the landing page for my course that we're looking at. And here at the very top above the week by week tabs, we have a line of tabs here that's always here at the top of different things I can do in Moodle. So we want to look at grades. And that's going to take us to the grader report. And you'll see here that it's going to show me all of the participants in this course. Well, I don't want to look at everyone's grades. That's a bit too much. That's unwieldy for me. So the first thing you want to do is come here and separate groups and pick the section that you're teaching. Once you do that, the page will reload and you'll have just your students. But for our purposes today, because none of these students have grades yet, we have thankfully a dummy student in this course. And so I'm going to choose that student, Clarity Language Center, so we can look at how the gradebook works. So here we have the student's name. Because this isn't a real student, they don't have an ID, but your student will have the ID number here, email address, all of that information, identifying which student it is that you're working with. And if you scroll over to the left-right scroll, there's a scroll button here, or you can just use your trackpad or mouse. You can see we have all of the different assigned components of this course. And for each one, it has a grade for the ones that are graded. And you can see there's a lot of things in this grade book, and not all of them have grades. That's just a function of how Moodle is set up and how things are put into Moodle. Things that are extra practice, that kind of thing, don't have a grade in Gradebook, but they still have to have a place in Gradebook. It's just a way that Gradebook works. So what we want to do is we want to go and look and see how our students are doing on that M vocab. That was their first assignment that we looked at. So I'm going to see how my student did. So I can see here that my student completed it, so that's good, and they got a 75%. So I can look here to see if a student doesn't have a score. I need to go and have a talk with that student and see how they're doing. And then I can also look and see how they're doing on a specific assignment and see where they're getting things wrong and where maybe they need some more help. So to do that, I can go and click this little magnifying button. And when I do that, it's going to open it into this particular student's attempt. So this student, if I click show report, the student didn't actually do this attempt, they just got a grade. But because again, this is a dummy student. But for your student, it will show you what questions they got correct, what questions they got incorrect. It will show you how long they spent on that assignment, and it'll give you a little bit more details, a little bit more of a look into what they actually did on that assignment. So that's a good way to follow up on how your students are performing in your course. So, like I said, once we get further into the semester, you'll be entering grades for things like speaking and portfolio. But for right now, using Moodle is a good way to track how they're doing on those weekly assignments. All right, hope that helps. See you soon.